there's medical research actually that shows that people have worse health outcomes, worse return to health outcomes when it's in an insurance or a compensatable setting, not just life insurance, but workers' comp and other things. And that's kind of the saddest thing about this whole situation. We don't want to make people sicker.
No, we want them to return to work. We know work's good for your health, and that's where we need to be getting people, not staying on prolonged claims.
Yeah, it's hard.
Okay. Maybe just, I guess, getting a little more specific, but it's just to kind of refer to the point Kristen just made around that kind of early intervention and rehabilitation process that you can also go through. Obviously in the insurance space in Australia, we have some large corporate plans where employers are providing insurance to their employees by the support of a direct insurance company. I think there's probably a lot in that space that could be done as well from an early intervention perspective, where obviously there's a lot of alignment in that case, because those employers are the ones funding the insurance premium, so they want to again ensure that remains affordable to them, but also allowing, I guess in some cases where possible, the insurance company to work with the employees on a return to work program, because I think that whole area, and we haven't really maybe talked about it too much so far, is the importance of claims management. Obviously, price is one thing, the product terms are another, but that interaction between ensuring that the claims management process obviously pays due attention to the product terms themselves, but there's a lot that can be done, I think, in the claims management space to try and really manage the experience and manage the outcomes so that they're appropriate for the risks that have been underwritten and the prices that have been set.
I think Matt touched on some of it before, David, in relation to the delayed claims that we're receiving, and our ability then to try and get people to return to work is, they've been off work for 18 months, 2 years, 5 years, as you mentioned. We can't pay for treatment, but we'd love to be able to, be notified of these things earlier and be proactive in the management of health.
Yeah. Would you like to see the law changed in that regard?
Oh, look, I think we would be open to, if it's in the customer's best interest, if we could pay for them to be treated and return to, good health, then that's something we would absolutely consider.
So going to Eugene and to Kristen on that point, would you like to see the ability for a life insurance policy or TPD policy to have a benefit that will include payment for a rehabilitation?
Absolutely.
Return to work?
Absolutely. I think I've heard some great ideas on how product innovation could solve some of these issues, and to the point on not knowing where price is going to go, I agree with that as well. But that being said, if new products are constructed in a more sustainable way, the old price pools are going to continue to get more and more expensive, and some of these new products might prove to be more affordable. So I think it's a good idea, but I'm also conscious that there's got to be a bit of give and take there, and I agree with the point that was made earlier that insurers want to pay claims. Well, do they? I like to think they want to pay claims, and they pay lots and lots of claims. But when a claim is paid that shouldn't be paid, everybody else pays for it, right? So it all needs to be, and with episodic type illnesses, it's really hard. So it's a really complex issue. But I still say that there's, if all the insurers get together, there'll be so many good ideas that can then you take away and you compete on that. But
sure,
the collaboration I think is important.
Agreed. Kristen, how would your clients respond to the ability for part of their, say, TPD claim benefit to have the insurer pay for their rehabilitation costs?
I think that would be received well. I know people that are in a situation where they are having to fund their own costs, and it's significant, and the being able to get access to those more the newer types of treatments and rehabilitation and different ways of treating people is what they want. So I don't see why they would be against having an insurer pay for their costs if that allows them to access different types of treatment that they can get.
Okay. Well, I think you were the first one to mention the ACCC in this conversation. Do you think, and I'll perhaps go around the table, do you think the industry can do a better job of engaging better with the consumer lobby with a view to the ability to develop more tailored, sustainable solutions. Eugene?
Probably, yeah. I mean, it's always good to know what your customers want. With such complex products like insurance, I think it's harder because, you know, people have the attention span of maybe 2 or 3 scrolls on an iPhone these days, right? So trying to get them to read a PDS for a TP is impossible, you know? So it is complicated, but trying to understand what your customers want and need, particularly with something like insurance where people don't really want it, but they need it, you know? They want it once they need it.
Got it.
So yeah, but we could all, I think, at every part of the chain understand our customers better.
Okay, so Joanna and Tim, I know that Kelly is the representative voice for the life insurance company, but to the extent that you're able, do you think the industry has done a good enough job in engaging with the consumer lobby with a view to finding better, more tailored solutions for the community? I'll move on and perhaps ask you the insurers. Have we done enough? Has the industry? My personal view is the industry has always struggled to bridge the gap of the importance of the solution, the attractiveness of the offer to the consumer.
So, I mean, I have seen insurers put a huge amount of effort. Insurers that I've worked at have put a huge amount of effort into liaising with mental health organisations, for example, to try and work through some of these issues. So I think the intent is there. I think maybe where we've fallen over as an industry, not just in this issue, but maybe some other issues as well, is in engaging with government and regulators to really sell the value of what we do and why some of these things that may be slightly unpopular from a consumer perspective are in the interests of, and that's what politics is all about at the end of the day, is making decisions that are in everyone's best interests, even though they may not like them. And I think maybe one thing we could do as an industry, and I think if the advisors and the insurers had a more united front when it came to talking about TPD issues with government than they did about IDI, disability income, then maybe that would be something that would help.
Okay, just as we move on to the next conversation, David, is there anything you care to add?
I think in terms of the messaging that we get out as an industry, it needs to focus on that we are in the business, across insurers and reinsurers, we are in the business of paying claims. That's ultimately what we do, and we promise to be here for the long term to pay those claims. Rightly at times there is a spotlight that is shone on the industry where there may be negative stories that are coming out. They're often the ones obviously that get the most media attention. So I think, and so it's right that at times that light is shined on those stories and those particular cases. But I think in terms of your question around can we do more as an industry, I think yes we can and we should be doing much more to put out there the positive view of what we do, the fact that we the claims that we do pay, the cases that we support, and actually getting getting on the front foot, getting a positive message out amongst consumer groups around the good for society that insurance and insurance companies provides.
Well, let's keep talking about that. But apologies for putting you on the spot a little bit. This part of the conversation might not see the light of day, so I just wanted to share that with you. As we move on to talking about underwriting and claims, these inextricably linked elements that relate to the viability of and sustainability of the life insurance sector. Are there, can you see, for example, AI having a sufficient impact that will revolutionise the way underwriting and claims services are provided by insurers? We were just talking a few moments ago, and Eugene was mentioning that a customer's not going to read a X-page PDS to determine exactly what they're covered for and what they're not. What can happen? Is there a blue sky opportunity for revolutionising the underwriting or the claims proposition that will contribute to delivering a more sustainable industry? Anybody?
Sure. Absolutely, I think so. Our underwriting and claims journeys across the industry have continued to improve, but I think if you take underwriting as an example, it's still an invasive journey. So we still require some customers to have medical exams, some customers to have blood tests, and I think whether it's AI or just technology advancements in general, that I think there's some big improvements we can make to remove those underwriting barriers and make the purchasing or acquiring an insurance easier. And I think there's very similar examples in claims in terms of getting information and really fast tracking the claims admin burden. So yes, absolutely.
Okay, what do you think about that, Crystal?
Sorry, I think distribution is obviously an issue, and that's what Eugene talked about. So getting more people insured, getting new lives into the pool, broadening the diversity of the pool, and keeping the pool healthy. I feel it's a bit of an issue for us as the advisors and the licensees to solve in terms of creating efficiencies, whether it's through technology to make our processes more efficient. There's a small piece or a piece that the manufacturers can play in terms of being able to efficiently get people insured, whether it's AI reading doctors' reports and matching it to reinsurer guidelines, whatever it looks like. But I think there's a piece there from an efficiency space, from an underwriting perspective, certainly from a servicing perspective and a new business perspective. I know Zurich's a leader in that space, but it's frankly a bit of a joke in insurance. But I think creating those efficiencies in order to increase distribution is, I think, the key issue that I think AI can certainly help with from that perspective.
From a licensee perspective, Eugene, efficiencies with underwriting and claims services, operations?
Absolutely. Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I still think, very respectfully, that is the biggest problem that we have here is a lack of distribution, a lack of people buying, and a lack of diversity of the people that are buying insurance, even though we haven't really discussed it that much today. So anything that anybody can do to make it easier to buy insurance, I'm all for it. Anything. Like, if we're so desperate as to say we're going to take certain types of cover away from people, as I said earlier, I think we should be exploring anything and everything, whether it's AI, technology, deregulation, whatever. I think insurance is so important, and it's not just life insurance, all kinds of insurance. And that's why APRA takes such drastic action at the first sign of any kind of crack, and quite rightly in a sense. But I just think we should be exploring all the different avenues, and it's great that tech and AI is perhaps here now to try to make that all easier. And that's one of the issues, one of the reasons why a lot of advisors have shied away from writing insurance where they're not specialists, is the complexity around underwriting. More underwriting than claims, but both.
Okay, so we've established that life insurance new business is way down, and there are sustainability issues, but the main reason life insurance business is way down because there aren't enough advisors to deliver those solutions to the consumer. But within your control as the insurer in the room, Joanna and Tim, to the extent that you can share with us, what are you doing when it comes to AI, the use of AI, to build efficiencies within, especially the underwriting, but the underwriting and claims processes?
It's a really good question, and you may have seen an announcement earlier this week that Zurich is launching an AI lab in partnership with St Gallen University. So there's definitely investment in AI. In relation to use cases that we're trying at Zurich, I think you'd find they're very similar to what all manufacturers and reinsurers are testing. We started off with low-hanging fruit, so some summarisation of data, but we're yet to really get into any form of decisioning or those more technical components of underwriting and claims. But there's appetite to continue to explore what's possible.
I guess you'd echo that, Joanna?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I have seen examples of those low-hanging fruit, and there's always something. There's always the team talking about the next thing that we want to try with AI, whether it's summarization of 100-page GP reports or other things. There's always the next thing to be looking to, because I think that's in everyone's best interest in our ecosystem, ours as a manufacturer for efficiency, but also advisors in terms of making lives easier for clients and quicker.
I think one of the things that the industry has done in forming CALI is to really make sure that they have a very strong voice in Canberra to ensure that our customers and their needs are heard by politicians and by policymakers. And certainly in the almost 3 years that CALI has existed, we've seen a significant shift from both the Treasury as well as the Treasurer and the Assistant Treasurer in terms of their overall view of our industry and the needs of our customers. So I feel very hopeful about being able to achieve some of the legislative changes that we need to make sure we have a thriving industry. And a key one of those, as you know, is advice reform. But they're also very supportive of the work that we are doing to make sure that we can continue to offer affordable and meaningful life insurance. And that means thinking about the sustainability challenges that exist, particularly in TPD, and putting in place the right settings so that we can have a fair, consistent and transparent process where we can continue to pay mental health claims to people when they need it, but that we're not making insurance unaffordable for the millions of Australians who need that support.